Welcome to TrekTrav. I am Trav. This is Star Trek Enterprise Season 1, Episode 12, A Silent Enemy, the episode where we find out what Malcolm Reed's favourite food is. I didn't actually remember what the other storylines were. I just knew as soon as we heard what his favourite food was, I knew what episode we were in for. Sit back, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into this review. So the episode starts off with a secret mission that Archer gives Hoshi to find out what Malcolm Reed's favourite food is. They are dropping subspace arrays so they can communicate with Earth in real time. We get to see a bit of that. That's really, really cool, sort of setting up what we'll see in the future of instant communication, depending when they need it. And it's just good seeing that sort of building of this universe we see in the future. What is also interesting is a ship appears. It's big, it's green, it's pointy, and it just sort of hovers there, silently, if you will. And, and we see them trying to communicate. Hi, I'm Jonathan Archer. Another one of those sort of naive things, and then the ship disappears. And then we go back to the B plot of Malcolm Reed's story of where we talk to his parents. One played by Gary Sinise, who is from Hello, Hello. He was also in Pirates of the Caribbean. He's an English actor, so if you've watched the English show Hello, Hello, he's actually in Doctor Who as well. He's a good character, but he plays that stalwart British person. And I have a bit of an apology to make in regards to Malcolm. Although this episode is like entirely structured around Malcolm, we don't see him much. But when we do see him acting in this, he actually comes across as like a really likable but closed character, which I quite enjoy. Trip is working in engineering. They're sort of worried about this alien. The alien appears again, this time firing upon them. And so they set out to install the new phase cannons, which is like gathering the precursor to phasers. Which look really cool. Like we see an actual physical model and then we see them come out of the ship later. Really, really cool. They have to go back to Earth. They can't beat this alien enemy. They're too strong. They're too difficult. So they decide to go back to Earth to get the phasers installed, and Reed and Trip go, no, we will have this done before we even get there. Before we even get there isn't even how we started, because they get it finished pretty damn quick. We then go to Hoshi talking to Phlox about, Hoshi talking to other people, his sister, about what his favourite food is. They all say he just eats what he's given, or he's really hard to get to know. She talks to his best friend, who says the same thing, and then goes on some random tangent. Ultimately, she goes to Dr. Phlox. She gets suggested that she talks to Malcolm herself. There's a funny, awkward moment where Malcolm thinks that she's cracking on to him.
Thank you, monsieur. I hardly know you.
Which actually, they probably would have made a really good couple if I wasn't sure at this point in the series that Malcolm was probably gay.
Anyway, I played him gay for the first 2 years. I don't know if you all noticed that.
Which I feel was meant to be, and then he just weirdly pervs on women all the time. It's a little overcompensatory. Dominic Keating, actually, his acting is really good in that scene, and I think maybe I'm sort of thinking of that pilot or a few episodes into it where he just wasn't quite right, but I think he played that really well and the later scenes really well. The aliens come back, they invade, they're CGI aliens with giant vagina faces. I'm not even joking, they look like they have vaginas on their face. Really cool though to see a CGI alien. They sort of come on board, they run scans on these crew members who are like physically in shock when they're in sickbay, like lying there with their eyes open, looking a bit weird. Phlox goes, they're getting better, they're just really shocked, and da-da-da-da. And Archer is panicking. He talks about how they shouldn't have left before they were ready.
I rushed us out of space dock because I had something to prove. And I risked the lives of 81 humans, a Vulcan, and a Denobulan to do it.
Don't forget Porthos. In the old days, astronauts rode rockets with millions of liters of hydrogen burning under their seats. I think they said, gee, I'd love to go to the moon today, but it seems a little risky. I think if you asked anyone on board whether they thought this mission was worth the risk, you'd get the same answer from every one of them.
Trip points out that he sounds like Vulcans, but Archer's like, no, we need to be ready for these things. He even asked Paul, did Vulcans encounter so many races that wanted to fight them when they were out in space? And T'Pol goes, it was a different time. There was less warp-capable species, which is interesting. I'd love to see sort of like that first mission of the Vulcans going out into space, or what their first contact was really like. And considering, I don't know whether it was during their Enlightenment period or when it was during their crazy rage period. But it's good to see Archer have these sort of questions in his head, whether he made the right choice and stuff like that. And I can't help but think, considering Rick Berman and Brandon Braga wanted the first series to essentially be set on Earth before they left, I can't help but think that it's the right of them sort of going, look, we wish we'd started earlier. But it was a good moment of reflection for Archer. Trip and Malcolm are still working on the phase cannons. They go and test one of the phase cannons, and Archer says, just take a little bit top of this mountain on an asteroid, ends up blowing up like half the asteroid with this phase thing. He overloads the circuits. The aliens are coming back later, and they use the phases. The phases do nothing, the normal phases. Reed suggests that they ran them through the impulse engines earlier, but they didn't do it, and then Trip decides, yes, they will do it. And Archer decides to overload it again, and they'll fire at the aliens. They fire at the aliens, it destroys their shields, damages their ship, the aliens freak out, fly away, done. Silent enemy, didn't even say a line. And then we find out the real mystery of this episode. What is Malcolm Reed's favourite food? And it's pineapple. I don't know how pineapple is anybody's favourite food.
It's beautiful. What do you got a problem with pineapple for?
We don't like your kind around here. People who don't like talking about City on the Edge of Forever.
We said we weren't going to do that.
We're not going to do that because you said no.
Who said that?
Anyways, I didn't mind the episode, but it is so stupid that I would consider the B plot of Malcolm's favorite food being more like the A plot. Like, there wasn't enough in the alien plot to really make the cake thing seem like a B plot. It was good seeing Hoshi like trying to work this out. I feel like when they were fighting against the aliens, there's maybe something better she could do, seeing as she's a bridge officer and the communications officer. But overall, it's a good episode. There's a bit in it where the aliens sort of use Archer's message to them when they find stuff to say back to him that they need to surrender. It's a really sort of interesting moments in it. It's not my favorite episode, but it's a good episode. It's solid. Not as good as last week's, which is on my channel. Go check it out. But overall, acting was all good. It just felt like a middle of the round episode. I don't know what it is. There's someone wandering around behind me who said they wouldn't wander around behind me. But anyway, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for next week's Star Trek Enterprise review. I've been TrekTrav. Have a good night.
I'll be with it.
Fucking.